Welcome back, Officers of the Republic. It's your Coruscant Underworld Police Chief, APGAINS here. And a lot of new people are actually joining the game recently, and they've been asking me, APGAINS, how do I take my characters from Gear 12 to Gear 13 and relic them? Since relics are becoming so important with all the big GAC changes, bloat no longer matters, top-end GP is a thing of the past, we need to adapt to the new GAC format and make sure that we can stay on top and thrive. So relicking a lot of useful characters is going to be important. We're going to hop into the game, and I'm going to teach you how I go about relicking characters, how I decide what characters to relic, as well as how I physically relic them, the best strategies that I employ, and some other strategies you guys can use along the way. So I have Django as an example. He's just a Gear 12. I saw a lot of green pluses, so I thought he'd be a cool example for this. I'm not going to actually relic him right now, because I don't necessarily need a relic Django. We're on the Nicky Biggs early game free-to-play account, the greatest free-to-play account that there is. And we have a bunch of other characters that we need to take up and relic in gear, but you guys know how to gear. We're talking specifically Gear 12 to Gear 13. So usually how it goes is these left side, these like starter pieces are pretty easy for most characters. You're going to have, a lot of this stuff. I can craft this. I won't apply it, but you're going to have a lot of this stuff laying around if you haven't done a lot of relics in the past. But in these sides over here, you're oftentimes going to come across, like, let's see if we can find maybe a character who's also Gear 12 who might have a couple hard pieces. I think Bosk might have a couple of harder pieces down here. Yeah, you're going to find a lot of these pieces where you're going to need a bunch of Kairos. You're going to need some like injectors and stuff like that. And these can be hard to come across because you don't really farm these all that often. As you can see here, you can technically farm them, but if you're still getting to the point where you need to relic a bunch of characters, I don't recommend farming for gear. What I'd say is normally you're just going to passively come across this gear throughout your time playing the game, and eventually you can have enough to naturally apply a couple of relics. But for these right side pieces, a lot of people are very opposed to this because crystals are pretty important. Where's our Django? He's got to be here somewhere, right? A lot of people are kind of opposed to using crystals, but if I wanted to get a couple of these, I might actually just buy them. Why not? I mean, it's always okay to actually just use some of the crystals that you've saved up to buy very important pieces of gear. A lot of times, I mean, for me especially, that's just how I've relicked every single character. Now, of course, this is Nicole's account, so she has a lot less relic characters, a lot less millions of less GP than I do on my main account. But the same strategy still applies. When I find a character, like, for instance, when I was relicking up my characters for Executor or for Jedi Master Kenobi, there were characters where sometimes their gears were terrible, and man, I had to get Kairos. So, like, for Kairos, for instance, I don't really spend crystals on Kairos. For my account, I have all my Get To and stuff like that, so I can actually afford, of course, it's not going to pop up here, but normally you can spend, like, Get To, and I'll spend all my Get To on Kairos. I always only spend my Championship Store energy, or whatever these credits are called, on these Kairos down here. And then over here, oftentimes you can buy Kairos of both types down here for Get To. Now, of course, if you're new and you don't have both of your Get To ships maxed out, definitely do not do this. Definitely do not spend any of your Guild Event Token 1 or Guild Event Token 2. But if you're progressing, you're probably not watching this video, but that's how I spend it. But you can farm these, and you do actually get a little bit things like stun guns and stuff a little bit more often, of course, thanks to the gear update changes in the Mace Windu events. You can get things like eyeballs and stun guns and stuff like that, which has always been super great ever since that change came out. But generally, you're going to be spending a lot of crystals to relic these characters. And there's no really if, ands, or buts about it. I know a lot of people are pretty apprehensive to that fact. You can, at the later stages, like if I wanted to farm up some of this gear with energy, can do that. But when I have so many characters that I need to unlock still, I still need to prepare, my gas teams to unlock my gas. I got to get my General Grievous up and running. I got to farm, the Ewoks for C-3PO. I have to use my energy on this account. For farming, I can't really sacrifice it for gear, and that's where making sure that you're really proficient in fleets, and now especially being the best in GAC as possible. So, people who are following the APGAINS approved farming guide, if you don't know about it, you can go to my channel, go to playlist, go to SWGOH Guides playlist. There you can find the greatest free-to-play account of all time, or farming guide, rather. We're actually going to do an updated video with graphics and stuff like that here in a couple weeks, if you guys are interested. But that's going to be more important than ever. It's always been important, but now since your crystals are tied to it, it's going to become even more and more important. So fleets and GAC are going to be super important to get those crystals, because you got to do your daily refreshes to get your 600, but also to farm your characters. And then you're going to need to slowly stack, crystals over and over. This account hasn't spent any money, so we've just been stacking up crystals passively, not really spending a lot of extras. And then when we go in, let's say there's a character I really wanted to relic. Like, let's say I really wanted to relic my Padme. Then I have a couple extra 1,000 crystals I've been hoarding up over a couple weeks to throw down on gear pieces. Like, let's say Jango was Padme. I can afford to spend some crystals, on these gear pieces like this, so that I can get closer, so I can slap that relic on before GAC starts. So that's generally how I relic all my characters. It's not too complicated. You guys, I imagine the people asking it are just going to be super new, and most people who have watched this video probably are just watching it because they want to support APGAINS and not because they don't know how to relic characters. So hopefully this quick video was helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I love you, and I'll see you later.